Okay, so now I'm live in both places. That's fantastic. That took me all of like 18 minutes to get done. Holy cow. Okay, so I'm trying to, okay, so that took forever. At some point, it looks like I'm going to have to invest in a new computer. That's what it's going to look like. All right, how is everybody doing? I'm on both. I am on YouTube and I am on Facebook right now. So I'm going to try and just look at you and tell you, I am so glad you are here. This should be a wonderful little conversation. I just got to look. You know, this is like my favorite painting in the world. I just want to, like, I don't know if you can see my mess in my room. Hi, Liz. Welcome back to Michigan and the, what was it called? The, I don't know, the cygenetic bombs. So I hope everybody is doing good. Thank you so much, Azara. So I still have this thing, but I can talk, so that's good. And I have still have the purple in my hair, and that's good, I guess. I don't know. Right now I'm just trying to calm down because I'm a little bit late. If you were trying to text me, Krista, the polar vortex and like all the wind that was yesterday. Reminded me of Colorado yesterday. It was so windy. So, so if you were trying to text me, Krista, I left my my phone in the van. So I'm gonna have to go back out. I had to take the garbage out. I have to get the pizza. So I'm sure the pizza dude's probably lost. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the fact that I can't shut my door. Hey, Bear, can you fix that? Quick. Can you fix that door, please, so I can shut it? Take the pull-up bar down. Thank you. So pull-up bars. So I want to talk a little bit about. Thank you, honey. I appreciate it. And we shut the door. I know I'm asking so much of you. I know I appreciate it. We'll put it back up when we're done. Okay. So. Oh, and now the pizza guy's here. Hang on a second. Don't go anywhere. I know it's the worst thing is like dead air. Talk amongst yourself. I'll be right back. What? Keep it Lincoln, her sister, babies. Keep it Lincoln. Thank you. Okay. There we go. Now, was that kind of funny or what? I had to get pizza for the kids. They're going to eat pizza. I have been running all day. Organized. Yeah, that's what it says. It says organized. This is a painting. His name is James Mathers, and he is he's a pretty famous artist on the West Coast. It says on plywood, and I call it my installation art. I will have it for my whole life, and it's beautiful, isn't it? It's beautiful. Anyway, it lives with me wherever I go. It's always in my room, and you are in my room right now, so it's pretty cool. And James Mathers, he was found by Andy Warhol. Literally, he was found by Andy Warhol, and he is organized, so Virgo. I'm not organized. Did you not notice that? Anyway, he was found by Andy Warhol and has done like galleries all over the world. He's amazing. Check him out. He's really cool. And I just want to say, again, thank you so much. My battery looks like it's going to keep it charged now. And okay. It's Virgo because it's an installation art piece. It's the irony of it. Because if I turned my computer around, you would see a different organizational, the opposite of organized. So I named this subject, the topic that we're going to talk about tonight, I named it the physical manifestations of love or hate. And I want to do not or, but I'd actually like to kind of say the physical manifestations of love and hate. Because we're a dualistic society. We have two things going. We have love, we have hate. We have two ideas of who we are. We probably have more than two, but for the most part, if we boiled it down, it's going to be love or fear, right? Love and fear. So I am listening to a great book I would strongly suggest everybody to pick up. It's Organized Chaos is Still Organized. You're funny, Renee. You're funny. So listening to a new book, and I would strongly recommend you, it's called Threat, and it's by Andrew McCabe, MC, capital C-A-B-E, and he was the interim and the head of the FBI for a while. And the way he described ground zero at 9/11 was the physical manifestation of hate. And I heard that, and I thought, oh my goodness, that really is epiphany worthy, because you have the physical manifestation of love and hate around you all the time. Your physical manifestations of love and hate. How you love yourself, how you hate yourself, how you show up in the world, how you don't show up in your world, how you really move within the world. So I want to get you. There's a couple of things that goes through my mind when I'm in the world, and that's part of it. Is like, we're so very, very polarized. We have to be really polarized. Our idea is right, and everybody else's idea is wrong. Our idea, and I want to offer that's not the case. I want to say, and I love to use Doreen Virtue as this, right? She is literally an amazing person to use this for, because she was so pro metaphysical angels, energy clearings, house clearings, all these, like, she was so pro all these things, and she had such a hate of who knows what, but then she started to hate it. So she went from one extreme to another. And I want to kind of offer, instead of going in extreme thinking, I really want to be an and. I want to offer you and this could be true. You could be really upset with somebody and love them. You could have a strong opinion about what side of the road a car should drive on, and you could be wrong. Just if you kind of stick that, and there's another opinion that might be true too, because I know we've talked a lot about this, and I know that, like, you cannot deal with mediumship unless you deal with your stuff, unless you deal with what's happening inside you, your own insecurities, your own lack of happiness, your own either addictions or non-addictions, or invulnerability or wall building or whatever it is. You will not be able to get messages clearly from spirit unless you deal with the swamp of yourself. Hi, Susie. It's good to see you. And I don't mean you're a swamp. I'm not calling you a swamp. I'm calling myself a swamp. You cannot deal with what's happening inside yourself. You can't get a clear message from spirit. You can't get clear messages. You can't get clear guidance. You could get guidance and then not be able to understand it very clearly. So I want to offer that if you kind of find a way to get curious. Now, I know we talked a little bit about this, like the lens, how you see the world, it's pretty much ingrained in who you are from a young child, right? How do I not like you at this moment? You can not like me at the moment. That's so cute. I understand. Oh, funny. Okay, sorry. I got a little distracted. That happens sometimes to me. So actually happens a lot to me. So your lens is something that is like something that doesn't move away from how you view the world. So when you're viewing the world, you're usually very stuck. It's got to be this one way, this one thing. And when we think about it that way, then we really say there's no room for anything else. And I want to say that's bullshit. Okay? So I want you to just really think about that for a second. It's not just your way. It's a million different other ways. It's 10 million different other ways. It's 7.7 billion different other ways. Because and I love this part because I get, and then I'm going to talk about something really cool that happened this weekend. I get a front seat at Spirit doing all this stuff, right? I get this front seat. So I get to explain to you things that happened that you may not know that happened because you're not running around telling people mediumship stuff, right? Maybe you are, and that would be totally cool. You got to get a hold of me because we'll need to talk. And Lori, I need to get a hold of you. I see you there. So I want to send me a private message with your phone number. Okay. If your lens is the way it is, which it is, I want you to be curious about somebody else's lens. When I give a session or a reading, a group reading, a one-on-one, when I do whatever it is and I'm in front of somebody and spirit comes through, every person that I read, every person that is the sitter, and every spirit that comes have their own lenses. They'll try and validate. So what actually happens is I get all these messages that come in through my head, and then I try to do these mental charades of what exactly are they trying to tell me? What am I supposed to be getting from this? How am I supposed to validate this person's experience right now to help them deal with what is going on in their lives? Okay. So I have to deal with my lens, how I see things. It has to be cleared away. I have to deal with the lens of the sitter, and then I have to deal with the lens of the soul that's coming through. To think there aren't lenses of the soul that's coming through, I want to offer, let's expand what we're thinking about our souls. They don't just come here. They go to the other side. You go to the other side. You have your perspective. You still have free will on the other side. I mean, that's not something that we talk about a lot, but I want to offer that you still have free will, which is a great segue into giving this great little story that happened yesterday. Okay. So personal lens and perspective. You will never see anything the way anybody else sees anything. Your opinion, your voice, it matters. Now, I've been living in a consensus community for close to 6 years, and everybody's opinion within this community matters. How they see themselves, what they have to give to the group, what they have to lend. So as you're out and you haven't been living, maybe you have been, if you have been living in a co-housing community, let me know. If you haven't, then check it out. Pardon me. Is you can walk around this world and think that your opinion doesn't matter. You could think that what you have to say or what you have to offer isn't important. And I want to leave you with just the food for thought is I see it really differently. Like your opinion, how you move in the world is so important to helping other people out. Okay? Helping other people out by seeing a different point of view, by modeling and showing love, or by the other chance is by modeling how to move away from anger or energy that is no longer serving you. So you can, it's interesting because I do live in this co-housing community, and you don't get to pick your neighbors. None of us really get to pick our neighbors, right? You get to decide to live in this community, and then you really get to work on your edge. So when you live with people in relationship, you are working on your edge. And if you're working your edge, it could be a little bit uncomfortable, but a lot of good things can happen from that place. All right. So, the really great thing. Today's Monday. So Saturday, I did a group reading at a home in Westland. Great messages came through. So normally, if you have come to a group of mine, you know that, or if you've been to other people's group, I don't know, all mediums are different. Every medium is different. They don't all work the same. It's just because, again, one medium's lens doesn't fit to another medium's lens, doesn't fit to another medium's lens. Oh, there's my foam roller. That's my foam roller right there for my hip. Anyway, so co-housing rules. Yeah, okay. That's right. It does offer you places to really work on yourself. Co-housing is very, very interesting. So I did a YouTuber user. Nice to meet you too. So, so what I want to offer is, so I go to this group, right? And what I'm saying is that there's a theme, right? A theme usually comes through. And here's an example. I did a group reading at a restaurant that I go to, and the restaurant, and all of a sudden I saw my father's fishing tackle, and then I saw like somebody making lures, and then one booth had somebody to do with fly fishing, the next booth had somebody to do with fly fishing, and the next booth had somebody to do with fly fishing, and then the person behind me, this kid behind me in his early 20s, had this like fly fishing theme like tattoo down his arm. So 4 or 5 different fly fishing things came up with, okay? So fly fishing. Saturday night, it was roses. I was like, roses, dried roses. And I'm like, I've seen yellow roses. I've seen like somebody being gifted roses. I'm seeing all these roses all over the place. So I get done with that group. Oh, wait, I have to back up. I'm so sorry. I messed this up. I apologize. Since I'm all over the place, I'm really busy, and I lost track of when I was supposed to be someplace, and I got 2 groups mixed up. Next Saturday's group, and then this past Saturday's group. I thought I was supposed to be there at 7. I was supposed to be there at 4. It's 40 minutes away. I still hadn't taken a shower. I have to take a shower. So as I'm walking into this house, and I'm 15 minutes late. I told them I'm going to be late because I'm not going to like drive like a bat out of hell. I'm just going to make it there, and we're going to be great. I get this phone call from one of my kids' friends, one of my son's friends, asking, well, are your boys going to come spend the night? I was like, what are you talking about? I don't know. So these kids all got together while they're playing Fortnite on their little microphones and say, let's get a sleepover going. Let's do a sleepover, right? So I call the dad, and I'm like, what's the point? What's going on? Are you having a sleepover? What's happening? He's like, he starts laughing. He's like, I said, look, I'm going to go into a group. I'll be ready in about another 3 hours. I'll call you and tell me what's happening. So I finished the group, right? Okay. All the roses. Let's go back. Remember all those roses. Really important. Connected with like 4 or 5 people. So get done with the group. I call the dad back, and I'm like, so what's the plan? Is there a sleepover? He's like, yeah, bring him over. I'm like, okay. I got to get him. Got to get there. And so by this time, I've been like 4, it's 7, 8, something, 8:39. And then I have to drive them to Ypsi. I'm driving from Westland to Ypsilanti. I had to pick up my boys in Ann Arbor, so I picked them up. And I'm a little hungry at this point. I'm like, I'm probably dehydrated. I'm maybe not that dehydrated, but I'm a little dehydrated. So I'm driving. How you handle things starts young. Right. So I'm driving down the road, and I decide, like, I pass CVS on the way in Ypsi. I can't remember the name. By Textile somewhere. If people who are around here knows that area. So sorry, it's my sons. I have to hear them. So I drive by CVS, and I say, oh, I could stop there. And the next thought was like, no. I don't want to stop by CVS. I like want to get some food. I want something that's sustainable, something that's going to make me feel like full and not junk food. And, you know, I don't need any more Coke Zero. I need more water in my life. So I dropped my boys off, and I ended up needing to give a special, another small little reading to somebody that was at that group. So guess what? I pull into CVS. Like, it's so orchestrated. Get done. I still have my daughter in the car. Pull into CVS, do the session, do the rest of the little meeting reading, walk into CVS, and get the stuff. Of course, like, you know, I don't know if you've been around me, like, what did I get? I don't remember. I probably got a Coke Zero again. And white cheddar popcorn. That's probably what I got. Anyway, not that you really need to know that, but it happened. And I get to the cash register, and this super adorable, cute, young 21-year-old-ish looking young college dude is behind the cash register. And I look at him and I notice his arm, right? He's got the start of a geometric something. And I'm so intrigued by his arm. And that's what happens when my mediumship, when like my mediumship sensors kind of start going off, I get really attracted to that person, something on them, either their earrings or their shoes or their hat. This guy, his tattoo, is like, I'm like, oh my God, I love that. I want to see the rest of it. He turns it over and it's a rose. And immediately, as I saw that, a grandmother came through, a mother figure, and actually turned out to be his great grandmother who did a lot of raising of him, a lot of like really like mommy stuff. And then I saw a father figure and then a young man who had died tragically. So I start to tell him these. I'm like, I go to walk out, right? Actually, I don't even start to tell him. I go to walk out and I stop. And I recognize just what they did to make me be in the position I'm in. And that I have a duty, and that's my job. So I stop and I turn around. And of course, nobody else is there. Like Spirit has it like so totally timed. No one is behind me. They're not busy. So I said, his name was Jalen. He was a cutie pie. So Jalen, I'm a medium and I need to give you a couple messages. When I saw your rose and I explained it, and then I started talking about his grandmother. And then I started talking about the younger male who passed. And I started talking about the older male. And actually he's like, I just lost my dad a year ago. And if you would have started with him, I would have started crying, which for me, I have to have assurance of like, I make people cry. That's what you do. You see me, you're going to cry. It's just let it go. It's a very healing cry. So I began to give him this message. And as I'm walking away, so the father thing, right? So they'll validate, I'll say something and then Spirit needs to validate it. Like I'll say something, Spirit needs to validate it. Say something, I need to have evidence, like irrefutable evidence. So what ends up happening is I said, look, your dad is coming through in birds all the time. You're going to see him in birds. And he just like, arms went up. He started like walking around, yelling, ah! And it turns out, I'm like, they're going to do weird things. They're going to stop and they're going to look at you and they're going to stay and they're going to like be there for a little bit. And it's going to be awkward. And you're going to be like, what's wrong with this bird? Are they sick? I'm like, actually, no. What it is, it's your dad influencing the bird to bring them, to let you know that he's here. And he just started like arms up again because just the day before a bird had stopped, flew out of the sky, stopped in front of him and just sat there, didn't fly away, just sat there looking at him. It couldn't have been better. He didn't think that was a sign from Spirit. He didn't see it as his dad, right? He didn't see that. But his dad, his grandmother, and his friend who died, he like literally, they made it happen. They made it happen. So I was standing in that CVS, looking at him, helping him to know what a spirit sign looked like, helping him to understand that he wasn't alone, giving evidence that there was no way that this chick could know, right? It's just, I'm always humbled. But what gets me, like, granted, I gave the message, I did the right things, gave it to him, I saw the right things. But what gets me the most out of all of that is it had to be my kids and their friends getting together, making a sleepover over Fortnite, me to be late, to take the call from one of his friends. Like, everything had to be set up so and he had to call. If he would have called when I was in the middle of the group, there's no way I would have answered the phone. It just would not have happened. I would have said, oh, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to do that. I can't stop what I'm doing to talk to this kid. I need to keep doing what I'm doing because I'm working. But I was late. But so I know that there's people out there who's going to be like, well, is that really free will? Like, I could have said no. I didn't have to answer the phone. I could have said no. I don't care what kind is drawing me into CVS. I'm not going to go there. I could have just walked out and not given this kid his messages. There's a lot of free will in there. All of those had to happen for me to like follow the flow. So I want to offer that there's flow in your life as well. You may not see it. You may not fully understand that flow, but that flow when you're in life is going to lead you to your happiness. Because, you know, oh my God, it can't. OMG, no way, HDX, whatever that is. I think it's called HD. That's like, that's the super hip kid's name for saying sad or something. Anyway, so I really wanted to share that story with you tonight because it's so important to really understand how guided we are. Even the people around you are guided. You never know what medium's going to walk in and see you and then listen to spirit and say, okay, it's time for me to deliver this message. I can't not do it. Okay. Does it make sense? I hope that makes sense to you guys. Okay, so let me see here. Just looking through these real quick. Oh, my lips are supposed to be plum. All right, well, whatever. I bought a whole bunch of lipstick, so. Oh, Karen, are you still here? I want to hear about the sage. I want to hear about what you did with the sage because I would really like to know. You said you used sage at your mom's house. The television wouldn't stop working on. If there's any people who was at that sales reading with restaurant, Karen was the one who was going to the. I'll wait for you to answer. See if you can answer. Oh, Kathy, can I use that on my website? You helped to heal hearts this past day. Oh, Kathy. You're adorable. That was such a wonderful group. You have such wonderful people. And I have to get my mom's, I have to get Mike and my mom on a date. I think that would be cute if that's okay. Okay. All right. All right. And absolutely. I am going to be doing, I know that I keep saying this, but I am going to be doing some video recording testimonials so that you can, because somebody told me this is interesting. They're like, I don't trust any testimonials because anybody can write anything. So if you go to jannycook.com, all of those testimonials are real. These are actual things people have said to me after their sessions. So that's what I'll do. And I'll do it over here too. I think it would be. I don't know. Maybe it'll show. There we go. You can see it more on the Facebook, on the YouTubers creation, whatever channel, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't really come up, but you can see the website there. I've been working on it and I'm going to continue to work on it. So I want to give a couple readings because I think that you guys have waited long enough, but it's almost 7:44. It's almost bedtime. I like bedtime. Okay. So, all right. Quiz. Who is this artist? Has anybody looked him up on the internet yet? All right. Anyway, we'll see who passes the quiz. If anybody passes the quiz. All right. Okay. So I need to talk about, I need to talk about a couple of people here. Oh. I want to go back a little bit to, to something that I said. When did I say it? Oh, it was the beginning of this year. It's only like a couple of months ago. So in the beginning of this year, the energy for 2019, remember you're working with energy. Things don't automatically just snap, work, go, right? It doesn't happen. Oh, good. Good, Joanne. I'm glad to hear that. You work with the energy. Energy comes to you. And this is, I mean, even like this, the full moon in Virgo that was just here is all about like expansion, 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 expansion. So really trying to expand yourself. So as I'm sitting here, I got to tell you, I'm feeling a lot of people who need to hear this, that there's a lot of medical conditions that are going to be like improving at this point. I'm seeing the energy moving towards that, which also means I'm seeing a lot more drinking water, which is interesting. Some guy who learned from Andy Warhol. Andy Warhol found him. Anyway, I think it's pretty cool. Anyway, so he, okay, so I have a male energy. It's a father figure. I left too early. I want to be in my 50s that I left. I feel a heart attack. I also feel like he's a really, like a man's, like a big guy. Like my dad was about 6'1", 6'1 and a half. He was a big, big guy and with very, very strong. And that's what I'm feeling. I feel a lot of hoses like pulled around. I'm also feeling, James Mathers, that's right. James Mathers is the name of the artist, by the way. That's what that's about. Okay, Karen, I just see that. If you'll just, Karen, if you would write something about the aura spray you use, that would be great. I just have to tell you, I keep seeing like a firefighter father hanging around. I feel like he's with someone, and I feel like there's a sickness going around within the family. So as I'm sitting here, I'm seeing problems within the ankles and the knees of somebody who's alive, and it feels like it makes me feel like a nerve kind of stuff, but it's not MS. It's not that at all. And I want to say there's making me feel like there's a, I don't know. I want to offer that if you're having issues within your feet and your legs, are having a hard time walking or standing, I want you to look into some vitamin C infusions and naltrexone, NALTREXONE, low dose naltrexone for inflammation. Like I feel like there's a big inflammation thing going, and I want you to take a look into that. Okay, so I also feel like the brother energy is coming around. I gotta tell you. Okay, so when I see the brother energy, I'm seeing gymnastics around him. I don't think he did gymnastics, but I think that, I don't know, maybe the sisters in gymnastics showing me that. Also showing me like being, wanting to thank the sister for being by his side through his, almost like through the death process. Okay. I'm Azara, I'm feeling a lot of vitamin C deficiency within you as well right now. How's your knee? Is it okay? Have you iced? Are you doing the rest ice compression and elevation? If not, get on it. 20 minutes, freezing cold. 20 minutes off. 20 minutes of ice, 20 minutes off. 20 minutes ice, 20. Anytime you hurt yourself, ice. 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off. Talking for a lot here. Okay. They're making me feel like there's... So, okay, so when I feel this, I feel like there's somebody who's sick, like I feel like a chest issue. When I don't know, it feels like he passed of a heart attack, but the father feels like a heart or cardiovascular issue. The son that's with him, it feels like everything all over his body. I just feel lit up. He's not really telling me what it is, just lit up. And I feel like the mother is experiencing some sickness. There's also like, I'm seeing cancer within the family. I want to bring this back to what I named this: physical manifestations of love or hate. Now look, I need to be really clear about this, because I know that I'm burying this 40 minutes in, and who's going to be watching this? I don't know who's here, who's left here. But this is really important. In A Course of Miracles, they say, or in like some of the unity beliefs, or like the, well, that's the only one I can speak of. I don't know the Unitarian. They're the UU people and the Christian. I don't really, but I want to really speak to the unity people in the Course of Miracles. Meaning like, if I don't look at something, yes, Michelle K, naltrexone. That's exactly the medicine I want you to look into. So, okay, the only way I can really explain this is to kind of tell it in a story. I wanted to really teach kids how to be very aware of their surroundings, when to go bananas. Like the whole stranger danger thing doesn't work. My kids see me talking to strangers all the time. I don't ever stop talking to strangers. I talk to strangers all the time. And so I talk to them all the time. and it would be silly for me to tell my kids not to talk to strangers. They're like, well, you do it all the time. Instead, I wanted to teach kids about tricky adults. Tricky adults. Adults don't need, this is what I tell my kids all the time, adults don't need your help for anything. Nothing. If somebody comes up, lost their puppy, lost their cat, asking for your help, they don't need your help. That's a tricky adult. How to look to see if somebody's tricky. So I wanted to talk about that to a Unity church when I lived in Boulder. But they wouldn't even hear of it because they thought that giving it any energy is what manifests it. Now, in my lens, and I could be wrong, in my lens, you can't just look at something and manifest it. Because look, dudes, if I could look at something, manifest it, this would be hung on a wall. It wouldn't be sitting on the ground. And I would have, a butler to answer my door. And I would live in a house 5 times bigger than, actually, probably not. I wouldn't really live that. But I would live, I would live differently. I mean, maybe not differently. I don't want to, we talked about the Diderot effect last week. I don't want to get into that. But I really want to talk about tricky people. And I super suggest that if you have kids, if you know kids, if you talk to kids of kids, or you got nieces, you got nephews, you talk to them about tricky people. And what I would always tell my kids is you know what? When there's a tricky person around, they're trying to get you maybe to ask for help or get their puppy or get in their car or get close around the tree, you go bananas. You go berserk. And kids love that when you talk about, you go absolutely crazy bananas and you scream and you yell. And I would give all my kids scenarios on how you actually would get away from somebody who's tricky. You use everything you have, your voice, everything, and you get out of there. So that's my take on tricky people. Now, looking at tricky people and thinking about tricky people doesn't manifest tricky people into my life. Get it? It just gives me the tools to live within my life. It just gives my kids tools to live within my life. It gives you tools to give to kids that live within your life. This is a ripple effect. This changes lives. It keeps people safe. But just thinking about it doesn't make it happen. I have wanted to lose weight for 10 years, and I've thought a lot about it, and it hasn't happened that way. It just does. It just doesn't. Things don't manifest. You have to put the work in behind it. Anyway, that's my thought about tricky people and manifestation. You have to really, but you have to really be aware. You have to be aware that you have to do the work, which comes all full circle around to when you do the work within your swamp self of all the feelings and all the traumas and all the pain and all the heartache and all the disasters that have happened in your life over and over and over and over and over and over again. When you do all these things where you're fighting, and you got built up this swamp of anger and resentment and hatred and annoyance and blah, blah, all these things, you got to work on that. You got to really begin to work on your blah before you could get your messages from spirit. All right, release weight. Release weight. That's a good idea, Ruthie. I like that. Not lose weight, release weight. All right, I'll tell you how it goes. So I think that's a good idea. See, there's another lens that popped up that we can learn from. Oh my God, life. Mwah, I love it. All right, it's 8 o'clock. I gotta get my kids off these games, make sure they ate some food. I'm in a good mood now. I love hanging out with you guys on Mondays. These are this is your chance to be completely refreshed, connected, because guess what happens? Whether you're watching this now, or whether you're watching it later, or whether you're watching it, binge watching, I don't know, I've done a lot of these now. All of the ones, my guides every single time are working with your guides who are working with you. This is nothing but good things. I work in the light. I see the light. I try to be the light. And granted, there are definite situations where I'm not the light, because look, you don't want me to be a role model. Just trust me on that. You got to run your own life. You got to be your own life. See light, be light. I'm looking forward to all the sessions that I have coming up. I have March 6th. I'm going to be at Earth Elements in Selene doing a group reading, which I'm super excited about. I wonder if I can do Earth Elements. I don't know. Actually, I don't know what the website is, so I'm not going to do that. I love you all. See light, be light, and we will talk more next week. Adios. Bye-bye. And I'm doing it. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, YouTube. Mwah. Oh, share this with people. Let me see. Share this with people. Give me a thumbs up. And anyway, thank you so much. I love you guys. Bye.